Hey gang, Uncle Todd and Sunny here. And since last week we saw a great Italian sci-fi horror flick, I thought we'd take a look at a not so great sci-fi horror flick from Italy. Get my hat on there. We are looking at War of the Robots, one of a loosely connected series of films that came out in the wake of the international success of Star Wars. The other ones included War of the Planets, Battle of the Stars, and Star Odyssey, the closest of the Star Wars knockoffs. Not counting Star Crash with Carolyn Monroe, Marjoe Gortner, and Christopher Plummer. That one was made by a different director and is not connected with these films, mostly because these films all shared the same costumes, special effects, props, and the plot. Basically, they just reworked it. They all centered around something being stolen or someone being kidnapped from Earth. And then our titular spaceship captain would get his crew together and go out. They would run into an alien on a planet who would in turn help them, and then they would get to the main bad guys, and there were always robots with these weird blonde wigs, and everything would end in a spaceship battle. Except for Star Odyssey. That one was a little different. Much like Message from Space, which was a Toho production, and Corman's produced Battle Beyond the Stars. Star Odyssey took a lot of its plot from the Magnificent Seven, or I should say the Seven Samurai, in which Earth is under threat. They go out and get a bunch of warriors. Again, there are robots with weird blonde wigs. Only this one included two comedic robots. But we're talking about War of the Robots, starring Antonio Sabato Sr. He was an Italian actor who came to prominence playing a race driver in John Frankenheimer's Grand Prix. Although he mostly contained himself with low-budget Italian films, although he did have a small part in Roger Vanham's Barbarella. But a lot of his films were like the Giallo, Seven Bloodstained Orchids, or the sequel to Bronx Warriors, Escape the Bronx. Then he, of course, in the 80s, he relocated to America with his family, in which he began making appearances on TV. In a bit of interesting irony, did several episodes of The Brave and Bold. Why that's ironic is because his son, Antonio Sabato Jr., who was a nationalized citizen, was a series regular on The Bold and Beautiful. And after that run, he mostly did guest appearances on shows like Bones, Castle, NCIS New York, as well as low-budget films. He was the titular character in the Asylum mockbuster John Carter, made to tie into the John Carter film that Brad Bird made. Jr. also made an attempt to get elected to Congress in 2017, but was defeated by the incumbent, and I believe he is more active in politics these days than acting, although he still acts. Our film, War of the Robot, opens on Earth, where some sneaky alien robots have disabled one of the security measures on one of the satellites that keep Earth from being attacked, and they go to kidnap a scientist.
What do you want with me? Who are you?
I said there is no time to explain. You have no choice. No one can help you.
No, those robots are very direct. There is a problem with them taking the professor, whose name is Carr, and his assistant, Lois, who is important for another reason we'll get to momentarily. See, he's invented this machine that can create life. And he's the only one that knows how to run the machine. And the machine is running, which is causing a specific problem.
And? No one else is able to touch it. Dr. Wilkes always maintained that without the professor, an uncontrolled reaction would destroy the entire city, space base included.
Oh, that is a problem. But I'm sure they've got plenty of time before that happens.
Because the reactor will be entering the critical phase 8 days, 14 hours, and 3 minutes from now, after which a chain reaction takes place, I want Professor Carr here before that moment.
Oh, okay, 8 days. Well, I'm sure that's plenty of time. I mean, that's what? Maximum 4 days out, 4 days back? Roughly? Not a problem. First order of business. They got to go up that satellite and see what was done to it, and maybe get a line on where these aliens came from and where they're going. Oh, we also learn that among the captain, our hero, John Boyd, Antonio Sabato, is captain of the Tressie, and he's given charge of this mission, which is rather convenient considering he's in a mad love affair with Lois, the assistant. And as the crew is preparing to lift off to go to the satellite, we learn that Captain's friend Roger, who is like second in command, he has a thing for crew member Julie, who has a thing for Captain Boyd, who of course has a thing for Lois. So we're going to have a nice little quadrangle of love that I'm sure they won't kill anyone to narrow down the quotient to 2. Mark my words on that. They will not do that.
Perhaps.
Anyway, they blast off, go to the satellite, and we have this visual for a spacewalk. Oh Lord, they're doing this Puma Man effect. Star Wars changed the field. Literally. Special effects like that wouldn't work anymore. In fact, they wouldn't even work 10 years previously. That is just so cheap. You can almost see the wires. Anyway, what's on the satellite? Checks it out. They find how it was deactivated and what direction the ship went. So, since they're the only one closest, they head off in pursuit. Things go okay for a while, and then some mysterious fighters appear.
Trying to get away. Fire!
How about that, eh? Yeah! On target.
That's good shooting. Although, their little isn't exactly how they used to do it on Star Trek. Nobody even fell out of their chair. And there weren't even sparks that flew off. You know, like in Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea when they would do that. Anyway, they unfortunately took some damage to their engine drive. And, well, since there was this asteroid-looking body that the fighter was heading towards, they sat down to do some repairs. Well, the captain and most of the important members of the crew go to explore. Because, you know, that's what you do. You always have your captain and second in command and your third in command go off to the away missions. Star Trek original series had that trope. Never made sense. Anyway, they find a cave and explore, and then meet the residents. Some crazy looking eyes there. Well, they're all captured, and then we get to meet their leader, Cuba.
You are with the unfortunate tribes of Azar, man of Anthor.
No, we haven't come from Anthor. We come from a very faraway planet called Earth. We were on the trail of some alien kidnappers when two of their ships attacked us and managed to damage our ship. We just want to repair it.
Well, unfortunately for them, Cuba doesn't believe them. And he sends them to death by his own hands.
Captain Patrici. Captain Patrici. What's going on? Wait, come on.
What saved them? Well, turns out it's those robots again. They gather up all those men and take them as prisoners. Oh, but Boyd, he has a brilliant idea. If we rescue them, they'll know we're not the same as them, and they could help us. You better get used to those kind of gunfights. They happen a lot. Anyway, they rescue the men of Anthor, or I can't remember which one it was. Where they learn that all the men have these little wristbands that allow them to be controlled by those robots. So Boyd and his crew get them to, using their guns, shoot them off. And we learned that Cuba had been captured once before, and that's why his eyes are different. His were created so he could work their minds. You can see. The other men, well, they're taken to harvest their organs. You see, the people that built the robots found a way to extend their lives, but it only works so long, and that's why they're harvesting organs. And that's why they kidnapped the professor. They need his machine to keep them continuing to be immortal. Well, in gratitude, Cuba will lead the Tressi to that planet and into the royal castle, basically. So, getting a uniform so that he blends in with the rest, they head off to the planet. Now that the repairs are made, they land secretly. They sneak through a strangely unguarded tunnel until they reach the professor.
The courage displayed by you and your men could have been put to a better use.
What do you mean by that, Professor? Can you explain yourself better?
Arrest them! They are the terrestrials the Empress was expecting.
He was in cahoots the whole time. Well, time for another fight. But we need a little more Star Wars-y action added to it, I think. Okay, didn't mean that kind of Star Wars-y action, but sure. Light swords or whatever they're going to call them. But there's too many robots, and so they're captured and they're taken to see the Empress. Are you ready for a shock reveal?
These terrestrials have come among us to take away the last hope of immortal life from the people of the planet Anthor.
Lois.
Holy heartbreak.
Yeah. That's right. Lois, his one true love, is working with the enemy too. Oh, and as for the enemy, want to see what they look like? It's like a whole planet full of the Dick Tracy villain Prune Face. Yeah, no, I'm showing my age. Here we go again. Hello, little man. I'll give you some ear scritches. Well, now we get into a lot of political intrigue. Turns out Lois is not really the queen. Well, she is, but she's not from that planet. When their empress died, Professor Carr convinced her to take the place, and so she did as a way to stay alive and to help the rescue team that was going to come. She knew they were going to come. She knows all about the machine and how it's going to blow up eventually. So now she makes a deal with Professor Carr. If he will let the prisoners go instead of using them for his experiments and send them back to Earth, she will do what he's always wanted. Yep. He's just a dirty old man. Like so many of us. I think I just might have told him myself. Anyway, because this is palace intrigue, he, of course, double crosses her by alerting the guards when she lets them go. So, of course, she has to do the same to him. Gotta watch out for those femme fatales. Well, she lets the Cressy crew in, and they get ready to pack off the professor to take with him, because, you know, he's the only one who knows how to do that thing with the machine. And luckily, Cuba does something that will become important later. But for right now, it's just a minor incident.
Cuba, come on.
At this point, as they are sneaking back through the unguarded cave, we engage in an extremely long gun slash glowing sword battle that goes on for an interminable point of time with very little variation, which unfortunately makes the whole thing kind of boring. Anyway, you get aboard the ship blasts off. Once they're away, they contact Earth to say they've got him. Although the doctor is sedated, basically. So they are told to wake him up. They need that information right now. Well, the doctor is informed of this, but you see, Professor Carr had already come out of it, and he kills the doctor. But before he can get away, this happens.
No. No. Wait!
There is a traitor within their midst. Oh no. I guess the rest of the film is going to be a big mystery of searching for this traitor.
Could be.
But then in almost the very next scene after they discover the professor's body, seriously?
Get used to disappointment.
Yes, it seems Lois willingly went into cahoots with the other race because, hey, she used to be an empress. And she has no concern over keeping that reactor from melting down and destroying a bunch of the planet. She's got higher plans to take over that planet and then the universe. She just needs John to give her the code to get through the satellite defense system, and they can rule together.
How about this? You tell the base the formula for the reactor, and I'll get you through the defense satellites.
No bargains, John. I'm afraid you'll have to do whatever I say. Otherwise, all of you will be killed.
Of course, he can afford to be smug. Cuba's still at large, and he mounts a successful rescue attempt in which they take command of the ship again. But Lois, who was knocked out in the scuffle, wakes up, and when no one is looking, she gets in a spacesuit, jumps out the airlock, and floats into space. But it's not suicide. She had a backup plan. All their fighters are assembled. If they can't get through one way, they'll get through another. Meanwhile, what are they going to do about that machine that's going to explode in a couple hours? Oh. You know, someone makes mention of the fact that Dr. Carr had a bad memory and used to put a bunch of his info on data chips.
Is this one? We have a similar one. Take a look.
That's it. That's the one.
Day is saved! Well, the base is, anyways. Now, the major attack comes, which means we have a dogfight to get into.
She's clear out of control now. We did our best, old sport.
I'm sorry.
And that takes care of the love quadrangle. Roger got killed in the dogfight. John killed Lois. Julie and John can now be together. Ugh. Yeah, not a very good film. I mean, did you check out for the action scenes in the dogfight? Most of it was made up of little computer graphics on like a screen. Atari graphics. You'd have thought they could at least do some like big swooping stuff. You know, I mean, they obviously had room for it. They had a whole thing there where they show the ships going by, but yeah, this problem with this film, as with the other that were made in this somewhat connected series, is well, the action scenes are very repetitious, which gets kind of boring after a while. I mean, how many times can you see bang, 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 bang? And just they're just shooting robots. It's like it's kind of like a video, watching a video game at the during those scenes, and the intrigue is iffy. Really don't care much about the weird romance that goes on through us. It's very soap opera and very uninteresting to me, mainly because it's cliched. And then the ending, where to resolve all the romantic entanglements is just to kill all the others. Convenient, isn't it? The dubbing's not the best, but it's okay. Sabato's a good actor, but you can't tell from the dubbing. Funny, the actress who played Julie, she played a different character in the entire series. She was in all of these films. It was just they would have a different leading man. Yeah, there's not really a lot to talk about this. It's just kind of a slow moving, and the goofy stuff isn't enough, or there's enough of it, to actually make it a so bad it's good and you can just laugh at it. It's just like a lot of the Italian sci-fi movies. I think the budgets just couldn't hold up the way like the Giallo and the Peplums did, where there would be a lot of action or intrigue and murder set pieces for the Giallo, and these are just a lot of flashing lights. The guns just kind of just kind of light up on the end, and then robots fall over, and the swords, they're just painted in like a phosphorescent paint, because you can hear the clanking on a lot of it. So they're not exactly lightsabers, but that was the thing you had to do because Star Wars. Yeah, it doesn't work as a Star Wars knockoff, and it doesn't work as a Star Trek spoof knockoff either. Maybe next week will be a better film, but I doubt it.
You're wasting your time on that guy. Why don't you get interested in someone else? A nice fellow like me, for instance.